Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere there's going to be a clip of this going live or even just a clip of this period. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And we got lots of stuff to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to unpack. Welcome, Casey. Welcome to the broadcast booth. You got your coffee in hand, I hope. Let's hope you've got your coffee. Good morning, my friend. We'll see who all else joins us. We got a lot to unpack and a lot to talk about, including this fine dandy little piece right here. Look at that little guy. Another one of our samples that we brought back. Got some nice spikes on that. Little baby right there. Dun dun dun. Good little piece. Good little piece right there. And then we got this little girl that's coming along quite nicely. She's been changed up a little bit since the last time you guys saw her. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to be lightening out those little veins running down her face, those little tears of darkness. Then, of course, we still have, you know, your weapons of choice if you do choose to buy one of these right here. Because if you don't have a weapon in your house, you do now. Right here. Yeah, I gotta fix that. I'll get that here in just 1 second. After I put Billy down, Billy the puppet. Give me just 1 second, and I will flip flop that. I wish they would just turn that shit off. It's a pain in the arse. Anyway, but there you go. You got Billy the puppet. I want to play a game. Lately, Casey, you haven't been recording enough music. So the challenge is record music so it can be played on air. So I want to play a game. Billy the puppet, Rottler, Rottler, and then of course Art the clown, right here. Boom, boom, boom. And I just need to get the little horn that he uses. Just keeps honking right there. It does say the art of art, drawn in blood. Actually, it's just paint, but Casey, you take your time, man. You take your time. But it will be cool to play some of your music on air while we are live. I'll have to hook up my speaker system on that other computer and download them to the computer, and then, you know, we will go from there. We'll have it playing in the background and all of that goody good stuff. We want people to hear your talents too. And, you know, I seriously still think you need, to make an album. Cut yourself an album, put it on Spotify, and go from there. Yeah, it's cover bands, but oh well. How many cover bands are out there right now that, you know, that's all they do is cover. So, and one of these days you'll have an original out there that you can. Here you go, folks. This is my original, a Casey original, and we're counting them down. The top 40 countdown. Those of you that don't remember the top 40 countdown, you didn't live in Oklahoma City. I mean, I guess it went everywhere. With Casey, counting them down. Or then there was Wolfman Jack. All these oldie guys out there. Casey Kasem, counting them down. The top 40 hits. Oh, when MTV was still showing music videos and not stupid reality stuff. Yeah, and I see that MTV is closing its doors, shutting its broadcast channel off, and calling it a day. I think it's in December. Their final program will air on MTV. But MTV stopped being MTV at the end of the 80s, early 90s, whenever reality TV came into existence. Oh, I remember the first video. I I, I remember, what's this channel? Scrolling as a kid, man. And great stuff. And don't forget to like, share, and follow. And if you're here, please go up here and then come back, and you can go to my others. Yes, Video Killed the Radio Star. Yep, great stuff. And then Love Stinks was one of the biggest ones on there. As the band had gas masks on, singing "Love Stinks" with the wedding and all that stuff. Love stinks. Yeah, yeah. Great stuff. And if you don't know that video, go check it out. It's called Love Stinks. I'm trying to remember exactly who sings it right off the top of my head right now, but I can't. But yes, yes, Video Killed the Radio Star. You need to go check that one out too. That's a good song. Great song. And but it is true. I mean, because a lot of people, started doing more music videos at that point in time, and that's where they were pushing their stuff over the radio. So, you know, and that's just how it went. But then you get so many people that didn't want to do videos and just wanted to do straight music, and their stuff was, more potentially put on the radio than it was on video. But now everybody's doing both, and you've got live streaming of music videos and artists and things like that, and then you got TikTok, where new people are found when it comes to music or art or podcasting or whatever. And so it's just an ebb and flow, um, with how everything goes and works and portrays and moves out there. So it is what it is. And maybe we'll see MTV come back as a music TV channel, with straight nothing but music videos. That would be cool if somebody were to buy it and then just that's all they did was play music videos, and they didn't. No, he's not smoking a blunt. This is Howard the Duck, the original Howard the Duck, the angsty duck from the Marvel universe, and he's smoking a cigar because he was based off of Jack Kirby. Stan Lee based him off of Jack Kirby, one of the artists there at Marvel Studios. And back in the day, they could smoke in the studio, and Kirby always had a big cigar with him, and so that's how Howard the Duck uh, really came into existence was based off of real life people in the studio in the office. You know, whenever Stanley started writing and creating characters for Marvel. Before that, he was delivering coffee in the pulp world because it was pulp comics back then and pulp books. So you didn't have a whole lot of comic books in the early days of Marvel. They were, I want to say they started out as Atlas. I could be wrong on that, but I'd have to look it all up again. But yeah, he you know started creating characters off of people that he saw on a regular basis, and he was a young kid. Um, and like I said, he was well, not the movie Pulp Fiction, but but yes, the pulp books of the day. Uh, and then, like I said, whenever comic books came out, they were running wild with everything, especially the true crime and things of that nature. And then Frederick Wortham tried to have them shut down with his book Seduction of the Innocent, talking about all the dangers of reading comic books of those days, you know. And so that's when the Code Authority came into the Comics Code Authority came into existence. Was thanks to Mr. Frederick Wortham, which I do have his first copy of his book, first edition, here at the house. Mr. Kirk Holt, you should be getting your shirts very, very soon. Uh, since they were mailed out, you should be getting like in today or tomorrow, I think. So, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. We are doing 5 new paintings. Yes, you heard that right, folks. We are doing 5 new paintings. I'm sorry, what? The fuck you doing in the hospital? I do occasionally. I'm going to get to the point where uh, I, instead of having all this up front, I'm planning on like putting the logo up here and then putting the print on the back with information of how to, find the artwork. Dude, we'll talk. Uh, Kurt, I'm sorry to hear that you. What the. Dude, that's why you put on your safety harness. He fell from a scaffolding and broke his leg at the knee by bending it backwards. So, your knee normally does this. It's not supposed to go the other way, you know? Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry, dude. Morphine drip. um, damn. I'm in pain for you right now. I'm sorry, man. That sucks. Why didn't you contact me? I mean, I know it's, live. Oh, it will bend that way from now on. Yes, it will. You're going to be a fucking alien, dude. Walking around with your legs all backwards and stuff. Oh, man. I mean, I've seen that in the NFL when they get hit with their plant foot and then there it goes the wrong way. And, you know, just haven't seen it, I mean, obviously you saw it and felt it. And I'm sorry. But yeah, are you doing okay? Did it like tear your tendons and stuff in there? Because that sucks. That's some rehab that you weren't looking forward to. What's up, everybody? But welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Again, we are working on 5 new projects as far as new paintings for the studio. And that Batman is here. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. We've got that Joker to combat that Batman right there. Everything I show you is up for sale, so don't forget that as everybody goes. So not only do I have the 5 new paintings that I'm working on right now, I've got two for the price, not for the price of one, but two paintings of. Thank you for the rose. You need some roses in there. Um, yeah, I got the hat and the mustache again. You are the one that needs the roses in the hospital, man. But yeah, no, man, I just I can't fathom it, dude. That's why you have your safety harness. Safety first, man. I'm sorry, Kirk. I mean that sucks. It does, and I know you will recover well. You always do from all of your adversities. Um, so I've got 2 new paintings that are penciled in right now, and I'm gonna get ready to show those to you. They are of Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness. Crazy, baby. Crazy babies never say die. All right, so the first one I penciled in was this one right here. Bum, bum, bum. You got to think it's going to be in the same vein as what I need is a ceiling fan. It was only what the right there. It could be Ben Franklin. I mean, it kind of looks like him a little bit, but no, this is Ozzy Osbourne, the Praying Hands version, and then the no shirt version, which will have his tattoo very prominent right here. Bum, bum, bum. His tattoo will be right here, which has already started to be penciled in a little bit right there. So there you go. That's those 2. And then, since I'm already starting a new style, it's not technically a new style. It is a style that Frank Miller has done before, but that's what I did for these 2. These are just the straight inks for the covers that I've got for Condry, Man's Best Friend. They are already ready for pre-sale. I'm gonna ink these in completely with the black ink and stuff like that. these are not two of the new projects. I mean, it is part of the new projects, but it's not the I'm looking for. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, that's all the t-shirts. Where did that go? Oh, this is finished except for the epoxy. Right there. It's going to get epoxy coated because it's going to be sitting outside with the tombstone of the pet. Yes, that is a wheelchair. Yes, that's how the dog got around. Because in his later years, the the owner still wanted him to get outside and enjoy life to the fullest. So he would put him in the chair, and they would walk around the yard and things of that nature. I did remove the puppy pads right there, but it's going to be completely sealed in epoxy and um, front and back so that it can weather the storm for quite a while. We're probably going to put it in some kind of a little box so that we can pour the epoxy and all of that good stuff. So that one is finished, except for the epoxy. And I'm looking for the other piece I was looking at. The shape there. Aww. I don't know where those two went. But anyway, I was going to show you the full blacked in version of these, so that you're not just looking at the white, because they look much cooler in the black. And I'm not. Oh, there they are. All right. So, dun dun dun. There it is, right there. Dun dun dun. See, it looks completely different. Again, Frank Miller style. And then here's this one. Bum. Right there. So that's what they look like whenever they are fully engulfed in black. And that's what I'm going to finish out these with. I just scanned these in. And where is the doorway in that room? It's right over there. Right on the other side of the fridge. I got a refrigerator sitting right here. Right there. And then the doorway right there with all my animal food in there. So there you go. So I'm going to take and ink these in completely so that I can put them in the portfolio as they are. So they'll look like this in the portfolio. Right there. And, they get the autograph whenever they get sold. So, let's see here. So, not only do I have the Ozzy Osbourne pieces right here and right here, these two pieces right here, I am also going to be working on three more paintings while I'm penciling in the pages for Condry. I'm doing an 8-page. It's an Ashcan edition, which means it is technically a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper folded in half, and basically that's what you got. So it would look like this, with your Ashcan. It's not a full-size comic. It is a portion of a comic size, and there you have that. Because that's what he wants for this book. And the thing is with that, it is a fill-in to his already existing comic books that he's got going on. And I'm doing an 8-page one-shot comic book that fills in a big gap in his stories. Basically, it's his younger years as he's growing up. What happened to him in life, and so that's an 8-page spread. I'm getting ready to start in some pencils. I started some pencils, then I erased it because it was like, I don't like it. And so not only do I have all that going on, then I've got these that I've got to get colored in. You guys have seen these a million times in the black and white, but they're getting ready to be colored in, and as well, right here and right here, the two mashup pieces that I've got going on. And then I've got another piece for this same person that commissioned 3 pieces of artwork all at the same time. And so I've got to get that other one started, which is a massive 18 by 24 inch piece, which covers my entire desk and it lays out there. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. But in all of that, I am also going to be working on 3 new paintings on top of the the Ozzy Osbourne paintings. Um, Joker might be sold. I'm in talks with a guy that saw it when I posted it on Marketplace. Um, so hopefully Joker gets sold, and I'll be in contact with him either today or tomorrow because he said Tuesday or Wednesday. So today is Tuesday. So let's hope for today or tomorrow. But it is still up for sale. It is up for grabs right now, as well as many other paintings are right now. The Dexter painting, the Chester Bennington painting. I'm trying to think what all's over there. I've got my Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice and Batman that glows in the dark or glows under blacklight. Um, that's a side by side companion piece. What else do we got? We got all kinds of stuff up for sale. And I'm still posting, for the spooky season for the Halloween time. And those of you that didn't catch it the first time, I am working on this little lovely lady right here. Dun dun dun. And she does play music. A haunting melody right there. But I'm going to lighten in these tears coming down her face just a little bit. Uh, and then she'll get a coat of acrylic over the top of her to seal her in. And then I'm going to work on her clothing and hair and things of that nature. And so there you go. If you're into spooky, creepy dolls, I'm going to have a few here pretty soon. Because I'm also going to be working on another one that's going to be a vampire lad. Uh, it's just too perfect. And again, I'm finding these at relatively nice prices, and I'm able to create. And especially since she had no eyes in the beginning, uh, it was much easier to go ahead and create this as is, uh, how she is now, than how she would have been had she had eyes. Because then I would have to paint the eyeballs and all that good stuff with either the whites or the very light blues or even the red, you know. So, but there is that. So yeah, I'm gonna be working on three completely new pieces of artwork in a different style than I've ever done before, even apart from my normal style. So I'm looking forward. I'm really looking forward to that. And I've got three specific characters in mind. One is Magic from the Marvel Universe. It's Peter Rasputin's sister. Uh, she is in the realm between heaven and hell, you know, and she has a demon inside. Not to take away from the song. Jekyll and Hyde by Five Finger Death Punch. Good band to see live if you haven't seen them live. And if you don't like their music, I'm sorry. It's just like me with country. I can't stand country, but a lot of people do. A lot of you guys love country out there. I can't stand it. My parents and grandparents both tried to get me to enjoy country music, but just couldn't do it. Not my forte. Um, so there's that. Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff happening. We've had some strange sounds the past few days. Different parts of the room when animals are outside and or asleep. It's very unusual sounds. Let's put it that way. Because we were watching some Nuke's Top 5 last night, and then we started hearing stuff in another room. And it's just like, well, the pigs are asleep. Yes, the pigs come in at night and sleep. We are starting to process them outside more and more to where they can stay outside, all year round. And then let's see, we started hearing noises. It wasn't the animals because one was outside. The rowdy dog, Mr. Dexter, he was outside. And then the pigs were asleep. The cats were all asleep on the couch. Phoenix was at the end of the couch where the girlfriend was, and it was just like, well, I know what the rock tumbler sounds like, and that's not the rock tumbler going off. So we couldn't figure out what it was. So it was pretty interesting sounds. Um, But we have stuff like that happen all the time. It's nothing new around here. Nothing new around here with our spooky haunted house. And then we have, the haunted artifacts that we do have, or supposedly haunted artifacts. I cannot say 100% whether the gesture doll that has Diego inside of it is haunted or not, because it hasn't done anything that this person claims that it has done whenever it was with them. Uh, so I cannot vouch for that at this point in time. And so, you know, I take it with a grain of salt when it comes to a haunted object, just because unless I have seen it do something myself, I cannot claim that it is a haunted object. Just like this doll. Had I not seen with my own eyes, and I wish I could have had a video running, or the camera would have went off or whatever. But whenever I was sending a picture to my girlfriend of this doll, because she was on the other side of the store, and I picked this up and I was like, "Oh, look at this!" and I snapped a picture. And I was getting ready to snap a picture, and it transitioned between two camera lenses. So in that middle of the transaction of going from one lens to one camera to the other, it looked like she had eyes for a split second. It was just like, sold. I'm good. It's ours. So, you know. And now, instead of a nice little porcelain looking doll, she's the creepy little doll with a big crack in her forehead and, you know, black tears running down her face. And like I said, I'm going to lighten those out. Um, and then I'm going to start working on the clothing, because, you can't have a pristine, clothing option for a spooky doll, and so then I'm gonna get to work on the other one, which will be a vampire lad, uh, lighten his skin out and all that good stuff. Because he's already in a period piece of clothing, which is pretty awesome, and we're looking forward to all of the spooky aspects that we can bring into the house on a regular basis. But I am also in the process of decluttering, so, which means I'm going to be getting rid of a whole lot of comic books. I'm getting rid of, a whole lot of collectible items, because why? Why do I need it? What's up, man? Welcome to the broadcast booth. We're talking about spooky season. We're talking about all the new artwork that I'm putting out, including a 8-page comic book for Legacy Comics, and we're talking about paranormal and, the spooky stuff that happens. So there you go. Much appreciated for the likes, the shares, and the follows. That always helps us out. Like right now, we are a popular live. Even though we have a few people watching, we get X amount of people that flip through here and, you know, uh, enjoy the broadcast for a few moments before they slip on away and go to somebody else that has big boobs and little clothing on, which is not here. Just the facts, just the facts. I see it all the time. Oh, why do you have a popular live? Oh, I see why you have a popular live. You've got 10,000 people watching right now. Pull your tank top up and you'll be all right. There you go. And so for those of you stopping in, I'm sorry I don't have a tank top on and I don't have huge hooters for everybody. So, I mean, I could always put on this shirt. Dun, dun, dun. One more. One more. Right there. I could always put that shirt on and just let you guys stare at it all day long while we talk. That's my bad habit series right there. The Naughty Nuns. Right there. In my series of paintings and stuff that I've got. I've got 3 different ones of those Naughty Nuns. One's got a ball gag. The other one's praying with her tongue out. All that good stuff. So, I'm gonna be doing another version, another series as well in that same vein. But I'm not going to explain what that is just yet, just because, again, don't want anybody stealing the idea, and going off on their own with it. That's why I haven't talked too much about my comic book, about what it entails completely, other than cryptids and folklore and things of that nature. Just because, you don't want people running off with your idea. So, I keep it pretty close to the hilt. But like I said, it does have cryptids, which is Bigfoots and Loch Ness monsters and Lake Champlain monsters. Aliens, other folklore and cryptid creatures out there. Chupacabras and things of that nature. So, but in the meantime, I am doing everybody else's commissions and everybody else's comic books. So mine has been put to the side for just a uno momento, por favor. And it is what it is. I mean, I'll get back to mine, and I will get back to you know, um, producing it and getting it all done. I'm in the process of writing it at the moment, and so you know, um, I am just putting that on hold for a short minute while I work on everybody else's stuff. Paying gigs over my non-paying gig right now, and so that's why I'm doing lots of commissions, and that's why I'm doing new paintings as well in the process of in between everything else. Just because you got to keep fresh new material coming out on a regular basis. If you don't, then you just have all your stuff that you always have, and you're still trying to move all the artwork that you do have and try to get it into other people's hands, you know, so that it can hang on their walls instead of being in my portfolio and collecting dust, if you will. Because all my portfolio is sitting right here next to me. Ah, as I make one move and everything falls. Yeah, just how it goes around here. Pick you up. Anything that happened to my tiny tarot deck right there. Yes, that is an actual right there tarot deck right there. That's how big it is, and it did pop open. So there we go, right there. So lots of stuff is happening. Lots of stuff is moving and in the works, and you'll be able to see those shortly whenever I get them penciled in, and I will start posting them like I have been. I've got some more horror stuff to post. Um, Dexter's not quite horror, but he's in that Schmerio killer range, so he'll be out there as well. Two different Dexter pieces right there as that goes. Um, I've got the massive painting, and then I've got the 11 by 15 on heavy cardstock picture that is available. That is in the T-shirt form, which is this piece right here. Just past him. Piece before art, the clown, right there. That's the other piece that I have available. An 11 by 15 size. Bum, bum, bum. Thought this one was going to be sold at one point in time, but they backed out of it. But here's the massive 18 by 24 Dexter piece right here. Dun, dun, dun. Pick it up now. The Elvis comic show. That one's new to me. I haven't heard about that one. There's the Kiss comics. I know about those. Now, uh, there was a rock rock and roll comics that encompassed a ton of different artists. Uh, had a little bit of everybody in it, including the older people from like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, uh, Janis Joplin, things of that nature, all the way down to Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and so on and so forth. So, welcome back, Mr. Kirkhope. I still feel for you, man. A picture of me as a comic would be scary. Maybe I can incorporate you into one of my comic books. People that I know. And you never know. You might be one of the popular characters there, and people love you and want a spin off of your story. You know, you never know. Playing the flute. I can turn you into Pan. You know, half goat, half human. Make you even sexier than you are as you're playing the pan out there. All that good stuff. Pan flute. Have you ever played one of those? At the last hospital, you came and delivered your artwork to us. Ah, okay. See, there you go. You can play that. So see, there we go. We got your character already made up. Um, excuse me. Um, Kirk, that sucks, dude. If I was closer, I'd come visit you right now. Uh, but that's a long drive from here, anyway. I mean, it's not too terribly far, but it's a distance. If I had my own private helicopter, I'd be there, in 20 minutes or so. I'm working on that. I'm working on that. Private jet, private helicopter. Those would be cool. And that'd make living in Alaska a lot easier. you know, um, that's a destination. To live in Alaska, out in the middle of nowhere, out on your own. Hunting and foraging for your own food and whatever you find that floats up on the beach or out in the middle of nowhere where old hunting cabins used to be. That would be the lifestyle. And that's what I kind of look forward to as I get older is like get away from civilization and disappear into the woods somewhere. You know, turn into a Grizzly Adams type, befriend a bear, and lives with you. Then one night it rips you apart. There's your horror movie instead of you know the the Schmokane bear and the the what is it the Krakoon. They're coming up with some of the stupidest movies ever as of late. Um, and I've been watching, like I said, a ton of horror movies since it is that time of year, and they're readily popping up, more and more. Just as in whenever spooky season comes to an end in a few days, because today's the 28th. We got 4 days left of this month, and and then you're gonna start seeing all of the, you know, Christmas movies. Now, me, I'll be watching like Krampus or Die Hard or all the stuff that's action packed and not on the Hallmark Channel. Uh, I'm not a Hallmark Channel guy. Now, I will collect some of the ornaments, that go on the tree and things like that. But plus, I make my own. I make my own ornaments for the tree, which is very cool. I'll go get some inexpensive action figures and put an eye loop in them right there. I'll put those in the figures, and then I'll put some a ribbon on it and hang it on the tree and things like that. But yes, I get that. Christmas movies are just eh. The only one I consistently watch, of course, is Rambo. Yes, it's a Christmas movie. Watch it again when he gets arrested and taken into the police station. Die Hard, of course, is a Christmas movie. And then you've got my favorite all time, which is "You'll Put Your Eye Out, Kid." Christmas Story, which is all about the leg lamp, all about that bass, no trouble, right there. And no, we don't like that song. It's just on a commercial that I see on a regular basis. So when you get this trainer, but you get when you want to pay for this trainer, but you get this trainer, Megan trainer. It's just like, good God. But yes, A Christmas Story, my favoriteest movie of all time. I will eventually own the life-size leg lamp, which is what I need to get next. I've got the small version. I've got the medium version, which is signed by uh, Mr. Zach, who portrayed uh, Farkas, Scott Farkas, even though his name was Scott Farkas. They called him Skept Farkas, and Zach was able to actually um, copyright the name. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Yes. Out you two pixies go, through the door, through the window. Yeah, that's another favorite for a lot of people. And I just, it was okay. I mean, it was a good movie, a good heartfelt movie. And it was good, the first 5 times that I saw it. But anything after that, which one? Which Scrooge? Lots of them. So that means if a cast iron bell goes off, does a demon get its horns? And okay, again, give me a year on the original because you have several that are very, very close at the same time frame. You know, and that's that. There's a lot of cool stuff out there when it comes to the originals. Like I can't remember when a Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge, the early '40s. Okay, the '30s and '40s. Okay, yeah, because it was that black and white time frame. It was, there was no real CGI happening at that point in time. Uh, it was all, the real deal, Holyfield, and that's when movies were great because you didn't have all these CGI effects. You didn't have all these weird animatronics going on. You didn't. I watched one. Um, the Beast Within or something like that, and all the animatronics in there were really, really hokey. They were really stupid. And it was like it was a decent movie, and had they just done things a little differently, or got a different special effects crew or something, what does CGI mean? I'm gonna have to look that up. Just because I can't tell you what it means. But give me just a few moments to get everything coming and pulling up, and I will tell you. And there's probably somebody out there that can tell you what CGI means right off the top of your head. Um, it's just like when I went in for a interview for a techie job, and with Goodyear, and then they asked me what does landline mean, and I went blank. I knew what it mean. I know what it does, but it was just like I can't tell you what the hell it's supposed to mean. And let's see what the great world of Google Holt. Thank you. Computer generated image. See, there you go. See, computer generated imagery, special visual effects created using computer software. So there you go. Just like special effects, SFX, you know. And his computer's working a lot faster than mine. And that's his phone. Bum, bum, bum. Because see, a LAN is a local area network, and I blanked on that, and it was just like I know what it does, I know what it is, but for some reason, whenever they asked me the question, boom, left my head. Yes, but computer generated imagery is what CGI does stand for. Um, and so back in the day, in the 30s and even the 20s, they would just put makeup on somebody, like the cabinet of Doctor Majaro or something like that. Great black and white horror film. Um, and just one of the most iconic characters of the day that basically was how the Joker was off of that character, the smiling character in the cabinet. And that's where an inspiration came from for Bob Kane with that character. And so back in the day, they did not have all that stuff, but they still made it look very cool. Yes, yes. There's so many acronyms for everything. Um, it's just like somebody was talking about the whole 6-7 thing, which is basically based off of your periodic table of elements, and they figured out what that stood for, and they were like, so anytime your kid says 6-7 to you, go ahead and just smack them upside the head because they're calling you a hoe, you know. And and so yes, acronyms are for everything. And that's, the military killed it for a lot of people with acronyms, especially when you get out. You don't want acronyms anymore. You don't want laughing out loud, LOL. You don't want rolling on the floor laughing my ass off. Just say what you want to say. Quit abbreviating every damn thing in the world. You know, we don't need abbreviations for everything because some of us aren't of that generation. you know, I mean, and it's just like if you ever were in the military, and several of us were that are on here, they acronym everything, and I mean they even have a phonetic alphabet, and it's just like, so whenever you're on the civilian side, and I use the phonetic alphabet on a regular basis, and because giving out license plates and things like that to the police as I'm calling it in, from where I worked at the time, um, it's just much easier to use that phonetic alphabet because they can copy it down faster and be like, okay, this is what we're looking for. This is the license plate, you know, those type things. But we don't need an acronym for every damn thing. Do you know Morse code? I know a little bit of it. Dot, dash, dot, dash, 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 those type things. And, I haven't used that in super long time, you know. My grandpa tried teaching me that back in the early 80s, you know. And, I could pull it all up and be like, okay, let's do it. Let's talk in Morse code, you know. Shorthand, I never got into shorthand, so I'm not a big shorthand reader. Now, some people would say that when I write, it's in shorthand, but it's not. It's just how I write. What does this mean? Can't you decipher it? It's in shorthand. No, it's just in my writing. My writing is atrocious. That's why I typey type it up on the computer. That way it's easily read instead of, what in the world? I'm looking at some of my notes up here and I'm like, why do I have this up here? What does some of this mean? What is, that mean? What's going on here? And it's just like, I don't even know. It'd be like me trying to read some Hebrew or something right now. I can't do it. You know, I've got a translation app for that, So it's just like when somebody types in Spanish or something like that and it says, see translation. Okay. Oh, this is what you're talking about. I got you. My penmanship ability is astounding. I can do well, and cursive was taught to us as children, and now it's not even required anymore because kids of today can't read it, and it's just like it's one of those forgotten arts now. Me, I wish I had an article of my mother's here, with her penmanship, but literally, it is. Here we go. like this, and I'm going to show you. Just like algebra. Kirk said, cursive really never had a need to use or for use. And it's like algebra. I don't need to know the whatever where X is in my life, you know. So this, I'm going to show you what my mother writes like. Okay, can you see that? Can you see that? There is writing on here. It's in that upper right hand corner. That's how my mother writes, right there. You have to use a freaking magnifying glass to read what she writes most of the time. I mean, she's getting a little better, as she gets a little older. But she still writes so teeny tiny that I never print. I hate it. No, I get that, and it's to each their own. Because most letters, I've got a ton of letters from like my great grandmother, all in cursive. To my two family members and things like that. Oh yeah, the really fancy stuff as they write. I was never that fancy, even as an artist. I can draw it, but you want me to write it? Forget that. So, you know, um, yeah. So, what are you guys looking forward to for the rest of the year? You've only got 4 days left in October, then you've got November, and then you've got December, and then that's the end of the year. I'm fascinated with calligraphy. Yeah, I used to do calligraphy. I had a whole calligraphy set, but I haven't done that in forever. The girlfriend really loves it, and she's trying to get back into it. So I'm gonna probably get her some kind of a calligraphy set so that she can enjoy, all of that. And but we'll see. We'll see. Got a lot of other things to knock off the list, before I can start fully thinking about Christmas presents. That's how it goes. But Christmas time is not about presents, you know. Just like Halloween time isn't about presents, especially when you live in a haunted house. You get presents every day. Oh, what's this? How'd that get there? Could have been the dog. Could have been a poltergeist. Never know. But now that's the beauty of living here. One of, until I tear it down and start over, because that's what really needs to happen. My front room floor is starting to sink now, thanks to the particle board. So, but yes, calligraphy. That's what you should do while you're recouping. Work on some calligraphy. 100%. That'd be cool. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Learn a new skill while you're laid up. I mean, you're probably not going to be laid up for long. Physical therapy and all that good stuff. They got your leg immobilized. Yeah, they just need to do away with daylight savings time, like many other states have already done. Um, even the farmers don't go by it. They go by when the sun comes up. Sun comes up. If it does, when it goes down, they're getting in bed because they got their chores to do as soon as sun up happens. So just do away with it. Let's just keep the time frame where the time frame is, and just do away with the rest of it. Well, I guess roll over to a side and grab that bedpan, or try to roll to a side since they've got you, snugged up with that leg probably elevated and all these little things around it. You know, oh, man, I'm sorry. I mean, I can only imagine all that. I've only been in the hospital, for extended period of time, one time, and that was when I had two flus on top of each other when I was a kid in the '80s, and had me hooked up to IVs, and I was soup and broth, gross. I still don't like soup that I can't eat with a fork today. Uh, I'm getting better. I'm getting better, but yeah, that was never a good feeling, you know. Feeling like death, 100%. Again, two flus on top of each other, the regular American flu and then what they called the Asian flu, Hong Kong flu or something like that. You know, that's when you were a kid on your bike, right? I think I remember you telling me that story that you broke your pelvis playing like Evil Knievel and was in traction. See, I never did that. I never broke any bones, and I had one fracture, and that's when I fell from the top of a tree when I sat down on a branch and it broke underneath me, and I was trying to grab every other branch like you see in the movies. You know, trying to grab every branch on the way down, and then inevitably I rolled to my left hand side. Elbow took the brunt of the hit of the the waterless creek bed with all the rocks in it. You know, shattered a plastic keychain that I had in my pocket, sent shrapnel into my leg, fractured this little bone right here in the elbow, and that was it. That was the only broken bone I've had. You know. Let's see, off a ramp, yes. So when do the aliens get here for real? They can fix me in a second. Well, they can't. They're here. I mean, they're amongst us if you think about it. Um, I follow another group on TikTok as well. That's talking about the aliens making contact with a certain asteroid and different places and things like that that just happened. Not to mention the aliens that they see, the UFOs that we see. I've broken 59 bones and had 29 surgeries, but all of those figures were from a few hours ago. So 59 of those bones were just recently. Man, dude. See, I've only had two surgeries that were like going inside the body, and that was putting the stents in my heart. You know, as they went through the vein down by my crotch and worked their way up, and then did the stents inside the both arteries going into the heart. You know, 26 surgeries. Okay, cool. I mean, 29, 26. It all blurs together when you've had that many surgeries. Um, so those are the only two major surgeries that I've had in my life. Now I've had the surgeries of getting wisdom teeth removed and dental work and things like that. But as far as on the body itself, those are the only two. Um, and like I said, the first one was the Widowmaker in 2017, and then the other side in 2019, less than a year apart, basically. And yeah, stay away from the heart, 100%. Uh, Eat healthy, do the great thing, but it doesn't matter how healthy you eat. It's you know 31,000 correct 31.1 thousand likes so far, which puts us in the popular category for lives right now, and in our same category as far as entertainment or fandom goes. We are under the fandom side of things because that's what we do. We talk about comic book artwork. We talk about artwork in general. Talk about my artwork, my comic books. We talk about the paintings that I'm doing, the T-shirts that I've got available, all the artwork that I've got for sale, and then we also talk about horror movies, sci-fi movies, paranormal. You know, you name it, we talk about it. Except for what are the two things we don't talk about here? And it's not Fight Club. Casey knows what those two are. I think Kirk knows what those two things are that we don't talk about here. They're taboo subjects because, boom, religion and no, it's not Joe Pesci. We'll talk about Joe Pesci. But religion and politics we don't talk about here just because once you start talking about those two items, people start losing their damn minds and they go nutso and their opinion is the only opinion and they're the only right, blah, blah, blah. Um, Keep your mind open to a lot of things, people, especially when it comes to religion. Um, Trump or the. Yeah, that's part of the politics. Yes, we don't talk about either one of those. Um, you guys are killing me. Do the whole Red Fox thing, and people thought he was joking on his live comedian show, and he actually had a heart attack and passed away. You know, because he always did that. I'm coming, Martha. You know, all that stuff. But he cried wolf one too many times with that, and people were laughing at him until they realized, oh, wait, he's literally not getting up off the stage. You know, and so many people, you know, especially in the music industry and entertainment industry right now, are just passing away left and right. Um, yeah, I'm coming, Elizabeth. I mean, every time I open up Facebook anymore, it's like such and such passed away, such and such passed away. And it's just like, all right. I mean, I guess it's that time of year. And so, 2025 is seeing a ton of artists pass away right now. And again, yeah, yeah, and that's the show that people would put on the cancel culture side. You know, Sanford and Sons. I mean, anything from the '80s or even the '70s, '80s. Um, then put it on that album. Make it to the 14th or 15th song. You know, well, at least we have AI to bring. Yes, I hate AI, but I get it. There are some funny stuff in AI. I can't lie, but I don't use it. Like I said, I don't even use it on my phone. AI is turned off on my phone. AI is turned off on my computers. Uh, that's why I haven't upgraded to the new Adobe software for Illustrator, Photoshop, and things like that because they've incorporated AI into it. Plus, it's a subscription service now. Whereas that's why I like my old disc of, yes, it's super old. Yes, it's whatever. But, Adobe Creative Suite, number 4, CS4 right there. And I would like to slightly upgrade to a CS6, but that program is rather expensive, even still today. Um, and but eventually I'll get it and load it on my computers. And I need to find a non-used copy because once you start getting into that realm, then you got to start finding the new um, serial number for it and all that, the license for it and all that stuff. But that's why I need to find a brand new one that's never been used, still sealed, all that good stuff. You know, but yes, but no, a lot of those TV shows from the '70s, the '80s, would not pass muster with a lot of the pansies of today, if you will, lack of a better word. So AI is for comedy to me. I didn't believe anything in social media to begin with, so the AI is funny. Yes, no, no, I get it 100%. I mean, I've got a buddy that instead of you know getting all of his artwork done by an artist, he's using AI to get his character development done up so that he can pass it along to the artist and be like, okay, this is what I want. This is the look I'm going for. Oh man, All in the Family. I mean, just name any TV show from the '70s: Archie Bunker, The Jeffersons, uh, uh, Different Strokes. Um, what's the crap? I'm trying to think. Benson. Can you imagine the outrage over Benson in today's society? That's why we buy from you. Your art is the best. Well, I appreciate that, and I do appreciate it because it's always a good feeling whenever you can put a smile on somebody's face. Oh, The Odd Couple. I mean, yeah, they redid The Odd Couple in the mid '90s. I think it was a new TV show that took the old concept and redid it in a more modern setting. Um, but yeah, so many of those TV shows would not pass the mustard in today's society. Period. Um, the play is hysterical. I've only seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the full play. Um, but yeah, I can imagine. And yeah, I it just boggles my mind that even some TV shows and movies and things like that have certain things in them that people want to say no, that has to go away, just like they tried to do with Gone with the Wind. You know, Andy Griffith, yeah, it's all good. Andy Griffith, I mean, was a great show. I mean, it was a wholesome show. Um, I mean, but it wouldn't pass muster today. Leave It to Beaver wouldn't pass muster today. Um, I mean, just just go down the list. Like I said, of what wouldn't make it in today's society. Gunsmoke definitely wouldn't make it in today's society. Uh, that's why they're redoing Little House on the Prairie so it can pass mustard in today's society. Um, I mean, Bonanza definitely wouldn't pass muster today. I mean, hell, Lone Ranger wouldn't pass muster today. I mean, the movie was an okay movie that they made with Johnny Depp and I can't remember who the main character was, but it's and that was still Adam 12. Yeah, I mean anything back in those days. Uh, Twilight Zone, come on, doesn't pass muster today. So even though it had every cultural basis in it, it still wouldn't pass mustard in today's society. You know, and it's just crazy to me. But that's where the old school comes into play. Raised, born in the 70s, raised at the end of 70s and early 80s, and then the 90s, and then all of a sudden the world went to hell in a handbasket, you know, in the early 2000s. So, and it hasn't gotten better since, you know, but it is what it is on that note. I lived my life, and then they all lived theirs. Oh, man. It's just like all this music that they say is, oh, it's the greatest music ever. Where? Where? You tell me where, and I'll let you know if it's good stuff or not. You know, ever check into Edgar? I did start looking into that. I didn't go full depth into that. I do. I am still. There's still a lot of stuff that I'm looking up because I've got all this stuff written down from that show. Right there, and he is part of that. So I'm still in the works of looking that up. But yes, I realized who he was after you sent me the picture of him. But yes, he's one that I'm going to do a deep dive into. Just like I looked into that whole medallion that we talked about on that show, and the tall dark figure with the medallion around her neck or around its neck, the shadow person, in the South Houston area. So yes, that is one that I will do a little bit more of a deep dive in to get more familiar with. So thank you for bringing that back up. It is, like I said, it is on this list of stuff right here. Plus, it's on another list as well. Not to mention, it's in the text message between us. So I cannot forget it. Whenever I hit the photograph section, it boom, there it is. You know, especially whenever we've talked and it goes away for a little ways. So right there. Yes, we talk. Just like Casey and I talk. Just like Roy and I talk, who apparently is asleep because his team lost last night. So he likes the Lackers, the Shellackers. I think he's just a bandwagon fan for them because they've won so many championships over the years. That's just my opinion. And he's not here to defend himself, so it is a true statement. 37.4 thousand likes. That puts us again in a popular realm here on TikTok because of sheer likes alone. We are a popular live just because of those likes alone, like I said. And much appreciated for the gifts and the likes, the shares, and the follows. That always helps. Um, I stayed up watching the World Series game. Didn't end until 3. Went 18. Yeah, I heard that. And I don't watch the World Series since my team's not in it, but they were 3 years ago. You got Roy showing up, full hour late, even though he's getting notified. He gets notified of it all, and just shows where his importance lies. Thong to underwear bikini models, you know. Ah, Roy, we got to give you a hard time. I saw the World Series go that far, also. Yeah, I saw the notification whenever I woke up this morning that Oklahoma City Thunder won again, have a perfect 4-0 record, and then saw that the Lackers lost again. Couldn't hang with their counterparts, even though one of their guys scored 41 points. Um, I had it on TV as well. So, and then I saw that the World Series went into 18 innings. Whenever I did open up the my phone this morning at 1:30 a.m. So not much sleep again. Bulls undefeated as well. Yep. Okay, cool. There's a couple of the Spurs are undefeated as well. So you got the Spurs, Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Chicago Bulls. I don't think I got an alert. Ah, I was just laying here and boom, with you live 2 times in a row. There you go. I think there's only 4 teams, and I can't remember who the other team is right off the top of my head because there's several 3-0 teams right now. The Bulls, Spurs, and 76ers. That's it. Yeah, your Lackers lost last night, 122 to 101 or something like that. They got blown out, is what happened. Um, Go look up the score. I was checking the scores, and you know, KC beat the Commanders, so that means we're still in second place in the NFC East. So there you go. Since we're 3-4-1, and they're 3-5 now. I'm born and raised in Syracuse. I'm more of a college guy. I get that. You know, we're everything here. I'll just give you my rundown and Roy's rundown of his teams. So Oklahoma City Thunder, since I lived in Oklahoma for most of my life. Um, Texas Rangers, Dallas Cowboys, and these are all uh, Roy's teams as well. Oklahoma Sooners, OU Sooners. You know, there you go. Carmelo Anthony's son is a freshman here this year. Hope he can repeat what his dad did. Yeah, that would be cool. Carmelo Anthony was a good player, 100%. It was sad to see him step away from basketball altogether. You know, when he still had, much respect from everybody that he played with. So, and not in a weird way, Roy. Stop it. And so there's been a lot of great basketball players, just not anybody on the Lakers team except for Kobe Bryant. You know, but anyway, it's going to. You're going to see some big name stars get hit pretty hard and hefty, um, because I think James is one of those that's involved in this. Um, yes, I know it's the Oklahoma City Sooners, Texas Rangers, um, Dallas Cowboys, and Oklahoma City Thunder. Right, I get it. You love all those teams too. You know, Kardashian's name is in it. I never liked the Kardashians, so I never watched their stupid TV show. I never followed their careers, all that good stuff. I know them by name only. I couldn't pinpoint who is who. I couldn't even tell you which one Kim is. When it comes down to it, other than she broke the internet with her butt bomb of the wine bottle with the wine going up over her head and into the glass on her ass. That's the only thing I can tell you about her. Other than she's dated one too many people in her lifetime. You know. And then, of course, Daddy is famous for all that other good stuff. And to each their own. And yes, 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 buddy. Thank you, Roy, for confirming. Much appreciated, brother. But for those of you just joining us, here you go. You get your creepy doll that I'm working on right now. Here she is, a music box, so she is going off for you. Oh, she moves too. I didn't realize she moved too. She rocks back and forth. So that makes her even better. So I'm going to lighten up some of these teardrops of the blackness coming out of her soul. I'm going to lighten some of those up so they look a little bit more, spider webbish right there. Yeah, I didn't realize she rocked back and forth until just now. My teams are the Dallas Cowboys, the Oklahoma Sooners, Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Texas Rangers, buddy. Good job. Wait till you find out it's not supposed to move. Well, that's the cool stuff about stuff I found. Like I said, with this one, whenever I sent the picture to the girlfriend on this, I had it laid down in my hand like this, and I was taking a picture like this. And whenever it transitioned between two cameras to get the better angle of the picture of the camera angle, for a split second in that jump between, it had eyes. And I was like, as soon as I saw that in the camera, and I wish I was recording it or taking a picture at the same time, it was just like sold. It's going home with us no matter what, you know. So I've started working on the creepy factor of it, and then I'm going to start working on the clothing factor of it to give it dingy, burns, tears, all that good stuff. And because you can't have pristine clothing on a creepy doll, 100%. And yeah, I didn't know she wrote or she rocked back and forth until just right now. Whenever I did wind it up a little bit more. So much appreciated for all of the gifts coming through, and we're at 44,000 likes, which puts us at the popular live level, and that is very awesome. And we are at the top 99% for our category. Um, but that's the stuff. I mean, I live in a haunted house, Donnie. You're new to the show, I think. Um, but I live in a haunted house, 100%, and we have poltergeist activity happen on a regular basis. Stuff flies off the shelves, stuff gets lifted up, turned upside down, and put in between other things. I mean, which defies logic. I've got a coin, of what's called a hobo coin, that sits right up here on a shelf, and it has landed right here, tail side up, right here, which defies all logic, because even if I hit that wall with some my firewood that sits outside my window here, it would not fly right here and land right here. I mean, literally right here is where it landed. And because if it rolls one way, it's hitting the picture frame. If it rolls another way, it's hitting crystals and stones, and if it were to flip off the front, it would fall straight down, or at the most, it would land over there, by my pencil sharpener. It would not flip all the way over about 3 feet and land right here, you know, no matter how hard I hit that wall out there. So, there's a lot of stuff that defies any logic here. The full body apparitions, the ghost figures, the orb or the shadow figures, the orbs. I mean, everything we have a little bit of everything here in this house, because supposedly somebody or put themselves below dirt in this room, as we found out, you know, and so that's why I have this little guy here. I capture EVPs in here on a regular basis, and so we get all kinds of cool stuff happening. So, music box, spooky, creepy doll. Hopefully, she goes off more and more. I have another option that I want to try. It's kind of like the cat ball thing, the theory that the ghost hunters use. This little lighted cat ball that when it moves, it starts lighting up all over the place. Um, we have actually a dinosaur that roars and sets off lights. I'm going to set that off in a room somewhere. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't gone off in the library, to be honest, because that's where we get a lot of activity other than in this room alone. Uh, but I see it all over the place. Like I said, the first 2 nights that I lived here, um, it sounded like somebody tried to bust in the front door. I was up with not a water gun in hand, but walking the inside of the house, flipping lights on, walking the outside of the house, the perimeter, nobody. Next night, this side door right outside my window here sounded like somebody was trying to break it down. And up doing the same thing, outside doing the same thing, absolutely nothing. No, I get that. I was a skeptic for a long time until I saw my first demon. Um, and that's when I was a kid. And if you go back on any of my lives, you can recount that story. Not any of them, but a couple different ones. Um, but I did see a demon as a kid, and I've seen things ever since. Uh, like I said, I've seen Bigfoot. I've seen UFOs. I haven't seen aliens yet, but I've seen UFOs. I've seen many of UFOs. You know, and a lot of people don't get to see these things in their lifetime. I'm 54 years old, and I've seen way too much in my lifetime. So I'm sorry to hear that. My son passed away in 2009 at 17 years old. He had just graduated high school, an ATV accident. So I feel for you, man. I do 100%. It's a pain that never goes away, you know, because like I tell everybody, they're supposed to bury us, not the other way around. So, I feel for you, brother. And go ahead and follow me here if you haven't done so already. And we'll keep in contact, because that 4 years ago isn't that long ago in reality. Because like with my son, I can tell you exactly what happened, where I was, all that good stuff, and it's just like turning on a light switch. There's all those memories all over again, and so that's the worst pain in the world is to lose a child, you and so you know there's an instant bond right there, and we can tell each other's our stories, as it goes down to it, in messages and things like that. So I have no problems with that. I'll listen to your story, and know I'm there for you, man, because I've been through it. You know, I've been through it from 2008 to 2010. My sister was killed by a drunk driver in 2008. My son, ATV accident in 2009, and then my grandfather, my father figure, in 2010, old age, but still boom, 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 less than a year apart on all of them. You know, happened when coming home from vacation in front of my wife, me, and other two boys. See, that's the worst part. I got to see my son in the mortuary after he had left the hospital, because I was 7 hours away. I was helping train troops down in Texas, with the military, and got the call, you know, all of it, how it all went down, and then, you know, it took us 7 hours to get to him, and by that point in time, they'd already transferred him from the hospital to the mortuary, and the mortuary, they have somebody come and open the mortuary so I could view my own son fresh from the hospital. And I'm sorry for yours, because that's, to see it is a lot worse. But I was 7 hours out from seeing it. You know, uh, and so my heart goes out to you, man. 100%. And again, it's never a good feeling. That's never, never the way it's supposed to be. It's always supposed to be the other way around. They're supposed to be the ones lowering you below the dirt, not vice versa. You know, and he had a lot of you know lofty goals that he wanted to do, but unfortunately, he was not able to fulfill those goals in life. You know, and you and I aren't the only ones that have lost in our lifetime. You know, and so we can speak to other people, just like I can speak to people that have lost a child, that have lost a son or a daughter, or um, from both sides, a sibling side, that type of thing, from a parent's perspective as well, just like you can on a parent's perspective of losing a child. And again, I'm sorry that that has happened to you as well. And you know, we pick up our bootstraps and work one day at a time, and continuing to move forward. It's tough some days, especially when the anniversary date rolls around. You know, because he passed right before his birthday, but his friends still threw him a birthday party. In July, and passed away on June 16th. Birthday was July 8th. You know, so it was cool to watch his friends throw the birthday party. His Marvel birthday cake and all that good stuff. And they were still cool to him in his passing. The whole atrium auditorium was full with friends and family and things like that. You know, and just from the people that he touched in his short life. And it's just sad and heartbreaking for anybody that has to go through it. And we were too. I mean, it was kind of cool to watch it happen. They sent us the pictures and all that good stuff of them having the party, and it was pretty awesome. So there you go. But like I said, we pick up the bootstraps, we move forward, and we cope with the pain differently than other people. As we move through life, because like I said, a smell, a sound, a song, a look. I got you. I got you. And you know, those are the things that we 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 start to forget things too. So I'm glad I found some old videos of him having fun. Of my son. I listen to those because at one point in time, if you get to the fear of realization that you start to lose the voice, you start to lose the laughter, you start to, I mean, mine was again 2009, so mine's almost 20 years ago. When mine happened, and I mean that 20-year anniversary is creeping up. And it's just like you start to get to that forgetful stage of, well, what did he sound like? What was the laughter like? Those type of things. So yeah, I get that. I get that. Okay, man. Another AI Cowboys video. Yes. Um, but Mr. Nice Guy, welcome back to the broadcast booth. So yeah, the you just deal with things differently as you move forward, and that's awesome. Yeah, we had to discontinue our son's Facebook because somebody hacked into it like a month after his passing, and um, started sending out messages to different people, and so it started freaking everybody out. So we had to get Facebook involved, and be like, no, our son passed away, so there shouldn't be anybody in this account, period. We didn't even use it. We just went to there to view videos and pictures and things like that. So yeah, 100% messed up. It used to do that whole thing that you see in movies and stuff like that, where you would call their phone and listen to their voicemail just to hear the voice, you know, and it's just life, you know. Life is painful sometimes, but you know that's why you have the pictures, the memories, and all that good stuff. And like you said, you have the YouTube videos where they were making the YouTube videos on a regular basis. So you have that voice, that laughter, that adventure that they were going on a regular basis that I don't even have. You know, some people are not good. We have had many things stolen from his great. Yeah, see, that's ridiculous, and I'm sorry that you've got that going on. You know. Oh, let's see. Nothing expensive, just little things he would have liked. Yeah, see, we used to put stuff on the grave on a regular basis, from different stones to the Hulk, hero click figures and things like that. And what I mean by hero click figures are these little figures right here. And he was a Hulk fan, 100%. And so we would leave little Hulk figures or whatever's on the grave, and they would disappear as well. So, so we got to the point where we would glue it on there, you know. Still call mom. The number is disconnected, but I call pretending she will answer. No, I get that. It's hard when you lose a parent too. I lost my dad when I was like 9 years old. Back in the '80s, and then my mom tells me later that it wasn't the truck accident that killed him; it was the massive heart attack, and then the bar that went through his head that killed him. In his truck accident. It's just like, well, mom, had you told me back then, I probably would have made some different life choices today, and I wouldn't have had my first heart attack in 2017. Maybe there's no guarantee that I wouldn't have, but maybe I could have staved it off a little bit, you know. But just tell the truth. The truth will set you free, as they say. You know. But no. So see, not only do we talk about paranormal stuff and horror movies, sci-fi movies, comic books, comic book artwork, my artwork, and things like that. We talk about real life stuff, because people have been through the ringer, in their lifetimes. So, you know, yes, the show can get heavy with that feeling of the loss that he and I are sharing right now. Uh, Almost went the same way, dealing with the loss for all the years. Yeah, no, I get that because after my son passed away, I didn't want to be above dirt myself. So it took me nearly a year to get out of that funk, to finally realize and wake up that, hey, you've got other people that are relying on you still. You I got, the two daughters that don't talk to me anymore, you know. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. It's part of life. It's part of the process. And people need to see that, that, and this show talks about everything. So, we get into some deep, heavy subjects sometimes. Again, not on the political scale, not on the religious scale. Those are the two objects we don't talk about here. And so I had to learn how to let go and live. Yes, 100%. And you don't have to apologize for anything because, I talk about it here myself. Yes, 100%. Yep, we're all in this together. And reminds me of an old crappy musical that my ex-wife put on. But anyway, that was one of the big songs in there. We're all in this together. Ugh. Okay. Anyway, enough of that. So, but no, we talk about some deep subjects. I'm still learning. If it wasn't for my other two boys, I wouldn't be here. Exactly. See, my two girls that I had was the only reason that I'm still above dirt for the most part. You And so I get where you're coming from, man. And that's therapy all in and of itself. And yes, I am in therapy for PTSD from the IED plus life stuff, sister, son, grandfather, all that good stuff, and through the VA. But, all in all, we can cope with the situation and move forward. It's tough, 100%. It is rough some days. Some days you don't even want to get out of bed. Um, but like I said, we're all in this together. You have people to talk to. You can talk to me at any point in time. I'll even give you my personal number. You know, um, and we'll go from there because it's life, man. We all need somebody to talk to. We all need somebody to vent to. Over certain things, and don't ever apologize for bringing a subject up in especially on my show. If it's a subject that we don't want to talk about, we'll steer away from it. We won't even talk to or won't even answer any of the stuff that happens, you know, because I do that periodically. Somebody will put stupid shit across my screen that I'm looking at and I'm reading it, and it's just like, okay, you're blocked. So, you know, but you're cool. Yours is fine. Uh, we like I said, we talk about everything except for those two subjects, politics and religion, here because once you start talking about those two items, people start losing their damn minds, and you can't, you know, you just have to get rid of those fanatics, if you will. And if they want their own talk talking point on those two subjects, they can go start their own show, you know, and so that's why we avoid those subjects here. Now we will talk a little bit in depth about some religious stuff. Like I've got pretty much every book under the sun when it comes to religion. I've got the Satanic Bible sitting right next to the Holy Bible, sitting right next to the Quran and the Torah, you know, all that good stuff. Um, but we don't go, into full depth of, you know, why was the painting of the Last Supper like it is, and blah blah blah, and the chalice, and the spear in the side, and all that stuff, because there's no sense in that right now, you know, especially whenever there's many other shows that you can go watch that is all they are dedicated to is politics and religion, you and here we talk about fun stuff, I mean, we talk about the heavy stuff too because it needs to be talked about. So there's somebody out there that just helped, or that's going to watch this, that has gone through the loss of a parent, the loss of a sibling, the loss of a son or daughter, a child, and a grandparent here recently. And this will help somebody out there if they get to this point and listen to that, you know. Correct. About the relevancy of apologetics. And so, you know, and that's the whole point, because even on my other live section over on Facebook right now, it has a number, the 988 number up there, you know, for a prevention hotline. And, we talk about that on a regular basis because, coming from the military side where they lose 22 a day, um, it is, it's a horrific number to lose 22 veterans a day, you know. And that's why you see so many people doing the 22 push-ups or the ruck marches or, whatever. And yes, great topics and boundaries for the show. Yes, there's always a boundary for every show. But some people just don't hold their boundaries true to word, you know. And on that note, that's when their shows go completely awry. And it's just like when the idiots show up on my show and start spouting off all the stupid shit that they do, they get blocked immediately. And I wish I could delete the comments, but you can't, which sucks, even though they say there is a way to delete the comments. I haven't found it yet. So they just get blocked and we move on, you know. And then you get the funny jokesters that want to put in the wordplay, you know, written by this person, Hawk, blah, blah, blah. And all my lives are typically about dogs, or lives, sorry. Not lives, but like as in multiple personality lives of regeneration, reincarnation. All my lives are typically about dogs. So that's cool. And dogs are fun. I'm a homesteader as well as an illustrator. This is a piece of my artwork right here. This is Howard the Duck from the Marvel Universe. And since you're new here, I'll show you what we do. Right here, this is one of my mashups that is a commission from somebody right now. Blade Runner and Kingdom Hearts. And then you've got a mashup from God of War with a Dreki and a Wolver. He's calling this a Thalum right here. And then you've got two comic book covers that I'm working on for a comic company called Legacy Comics. Condry, Man's Best Friend. This is the full black version. This is what it looked like before it got the black version in Adobe Photoshop. Right there and right there. And then you've got this one right here. The original and then the Adobe Photoshop version of the solid blacks included. And then right down here, we also have the two newest starts of some paintings that I'm doing on some 16 by 20s of the man himself, Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. This is just the pencil rough in right here. That's number one. And then number two is right here. Boom, boom, boom. Right there. This is going to have his little demon head right here in color, just like the Chester Bennington piece, in the same vein as that. And what I mean by that is I have t-shirts as well. And Chester Bennington looks like this. I could pull him up, but he's buried over there. Right there. That Ozzy Osbourne is going to look similar to that right there. So that's what I do here, is we do illustrations and paintings and create creepy dolls and do artwork in general besides homestead. We've got pigs. How far are your commissions booked? Hit me up. I mean, I'm working on an 8-page comic book right now. I'm working on a 18 by 24 piece at the same time. I've got to get these two colored up right here for the same person that's got the 18 by 24. But you hit me up and we will talk. Because my paintings can wait. You know, I'm working on 5 different paintings right now. Those 2 plus 3 more that I'm getting ready to draw up. And then I'm also working on that 8-page comic book right now as well. Since it's straight black and white, all I've got to do is lay it out, ink it, and go. Those 2 to color up, and then 1 right there. Okay, that'll be cool. And you might want to get that in soon. Just because Christmas is right around the corner. Oh, and I just finished this memorial piece for a pet memorial right there. The corgi in a wheelchair, because that's how he pushed the dog around in his later years. You know, and family portraits are awesome. I've done a lot of those throughout the years. So, but there you go. No problem. I look forward to it. And like I said, I will probably give you my personal number, and that way you can text me at any point in time, and we can talk about whatever, you know, especially when things get rough, and you know what I mean with that. So, but I am going to kill it for today, folks. It has been a great show, and I much appreciate it on everybody stopping in, checking out the channel. And don't forget to like, share, and follow. And you can go up here and follow me on my other socials, which is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you're already here. No, the Aussie work is up for grabs. Both of those are up for sale. Yes, 100%, Donnie. I'm glad you stopped in and talked about, you know, baseball for a minute, and then we went into other stuff. And as I like to say, Casey, you're beating me to the punch. We will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.